Okay, I'm going to make you, Emma, I'm going to make you a co-host. So while everybody's coming on here. Cool. Great. Everyone's starting to come on. We're just going to give a couple more minutes for more people to join. You're welcome to have your cameras on if you want to or not. That's also fine. If you don't have your camera on, then we don't see you at all. So that may be perfectly wonderful. Hi, Mia. Nice to see you. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Dee. Yes, that's awesome. Glad you found your way on. Hi. So I'm so glad everybody's come together tonight to a little bit circle around Equus's new chapter, its new iteration, and I'm here today with some members of our team. We have, well, I'll go into who's here and who's not here and why. But for those of you who may not know me or haven't met me in this virtual reality yet, my name's Kelly Wendorf. I'm the founding CEO of Equus, and we're really excited to have this hour together this evening. It's one of many what we call ask me anything, which I really mean sincerely. You get to ask me anything. This particular evening, though, is tailored towards just unveiling some new ways that Equus is expressing itself in the world. And but you know, if you have a burning question about something else, I'm totally available, and so is Emma. And I want to introduce Emma Chalut, who's here on the call. Emma is our director of marketing, and who is not on the Zoom meeting today is Mackenzie Shapiro, who is our executive assistant, and Stephanie Hanley, who is our director of operations. Stephanie sadly has COVID, so she and her whole family have COVID, so she couldn't make it tonight, but she is with us in spirit. And there's a bunch of people that signed on who couldn't make it because they're in other parts of the world, so this is being recorded for them as well. We have a chat space, and I invite you to use it. You can definitely throw some questions in the chat. Emma's going to be fielding questions to me along the way. It's also a great way to parallel process. So for those of you who are my generation or older, using the chat space does not mean that you're interrupting anything. So you can go ahead and use it as you feel to, so that we can kind of include you in the dialogue that's happening. So yeah, so just, you know, in the last 2 years, all of us have navigated through so many changes, you know, with the COVID lockdowns, and also with what was showing up for us in this country in particular around George Floyd, around the Capitol riots, and just how much those events have shaped us, changed us, continue to influence our lives, and have certainly influenced Equus in some pretty significant ways. We had to, in the wake of the COVID lockdown, we had to pivot from a primarily in-person organization that welcomed most of our clients to Thunderbird Ridge to experience the Equus experience, which is the work that we've most been known for, which is the process with the Equus herd of horses. We had to pivot from that to being largely a virtual organization, and where we offer coaching and wisdom circles and online workshop facilitation and courses and classes and webinars. And that was, you know, really ended up being quite a blessing for us, because we were able to reach out to so many more people without the condition of having to come here to come and work with us. and reach out to many more people in ways that was more efficient and more affordable for many folks. And so that meant that the outreach that Equus has had over the last 2 plus years, has been significantly more meaningful from my point of view. And we also had to shift ourselves. We had to take a good hard look at ourselves as an organization in the light of the George Floyd death. And who were we as an organization? What stand did we want to take in the area of diversity and inclusion? And were we really inclusive? And where were we still demonstrating bias? And so that worked us very much as a company too, and shifted many ways that we do business. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too. And what's terrific about it is that even though the horses are right outside here, in our paddocks, I'm looking at them right now, their influence has been able to stretch out across time and space around the world through these virtual meetings, because so much of who they are and what they teach is embedded in the courses, the classes, the culture of Equus, who we are, how we organize ourselves internally as a team, and how we reach out to the world. So for me, it's been really rewarding to experience how there is no limitation to the ways that we can connect, we can learn, we can grow, and we're able to go deeply together, even though we're meeting across a screen like this. So that's been exciting. And so in light of that, a lot of internal changes happened to Equus. We changed our leadership team. It is now me at the helm of Equus. And then I've got my primary kind of wing people, which are Emma and Stephanie and Mackenzie. Also, I see that Deb's on the call. Deb, do you feel like waving? Deb is our venerable volunteer who's out with the horses 3 times a week and helping a lot. And we have an amazing faculty who are starting to showcase their work and their courses and classes virtually as well. So we'll learn more about that. And we're able to also offer things at some really affordable price points that help all kinds of people be able to engage with us in lots of different ways. All of it informed by 56 million years of wisdom. So tonight we wanted to unveil some of those changes and opportunities and open the floor to any questions that you might have about Equus, about what we do, about where we're going. And this is also a time where we want to hear from you, how we can serve you better. Any feedback you have for us, this is really a great time to do that. And any ideas that you have, we're totally open. But before we open the floor to questions and ideas and comments, I'd love to pass the mic to Emma, our Director of Marketing, who's really the brains and creative force behind the new look of Equus. Our new website is up. It's so beautiful, I feel. It's my sense. And she's really the creative brains and inspiration behind making that happen and making the website more accessible and easy to use. And she's just really been in our corner in all kinds of ways. So I'll hand the mic over to Emma.
Hello, I'm Emma. I kind of wanted to touch on how I got here, how I got to know Equus and how I got to know Kelly. I joined last year in kind of a serendipitous way, just as a kind of consultant role. And so Kelly had this like wild idea to kind of bring me on and just tell me, the floor is yours. Tell me everything that you would change about Equus, pretty much, as I think it was what she said in so many words. And so I did. I was very honest. I was like, this is what I would do. And I thought that she would be like, thank you for those words, but, we'll think about it. And instead, she kind of just kept opening the door for me to come on further and to give more of my opinions. And so it was kind of weird to start one of those relationships, kind of like a working relationship, on the foot of not trying to be somebody else. Because I feel like whenever I've kind of gone for different roles, I've always tried to like be the person that they want to hire. And instead I was completely honest from day one, and Kelly was just like totally embracing of that. So I think that really just that beginning nugget really goes to show kind of, it's a good summation of how this past year has gone. And it's been really great to kind of have the chance to come on with Equus at such a pivotal time. I didn't know it at the time, but it was going to be, in hindsight, kind of this really big flurry of changes to an organization that previously to last year, I really did not know anything about. I was very new to it. And I think that that was kind of helpful because I don't know anything about horses. I don't know anything about the work that Kelly does. And so I was able to kind of bring fresh eyes to the organization. And in doing that, yeah, she's kind of just asked me to do a little bit more here and there, a little bit more here and there. And then now I got to be kind of the point woman in pushing this new kind of Equus look out into the world. And that's not to say that it was just me at all. It was really a collaborative team effort, which was way more fun for me. I think I got to work with the amazing team at Equus and come up with how we wanted to be seen going forward, and kind of take a look back at everything that Equus has been through and decide as a team, what do we want to take forward with us? We're going to be making these big changes. We're going to have to lose a lot of things. What do we not want to lose? And what do we want to portray in the future, I guess. Yeah, and I'm really excited about how it went down. I think that there's like a lot of ways to feel about, I don't know if you guys have seen the new website and the new branding and stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to feel about it, but I know that in my heart of hearts, I feel like it really envelops, and it's nice to finally see the changes that Equus has been having inside. I'm sure Kelly's going to talk more about that, but the changes that Equus has had inside now be visible for everyone to see, and it's really apparent, and I hope that you guys can see that. And I really look forward to any questions that you guys have about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Do you mind not to put you on the spot, but do you mind to share just a little bit about your thoughts around my experience of you is that you really held us accountable as an organization that was, that socially we were accountable, that when we said, diversity and inclusion, that we were really walking our talk to the best of our ability, especially in terms of topics of race and gender and cultural appropriation, just especially because of your generation seems to have a finger on that pulse so much more than the rest of us. So do you mind to just share a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that was one of the main things that I touched on when I first did that whole consultation thing. It was very much like, okay, you guys deal a lot with like ideas of like race and indigenous practices, and how are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Is there a good reason for that? Like you said, I'm from a different generation, so I kind of do all of that thinking before I interact with the company. And so that's just second nature to me, is that I'll see a company doing kind of anything and I'm thinking, okay, why are they doing that? Do they need to be engaging with that? Are they doing it mindfully? All of that. And so I approached Equus like that. And yeah, I definitely feel like hopefully there's been a lot of like looking in the mirror and being like, yeah, this is important. We need to be talking about indigenous practices, but let's be clear on, who we are, where we stand, and like not trying to do things that are not ours. So I think that there is, the line was like, for an outside consumer, a little bit shakier than it is now. I feel like now we kind of, as a brand and as a company, are more clear, hopefully, about mission and values for sure. And I hope to, keep being really critical.
Yeah. Emma taught me how to be brave in the face of critical thought. She taught me how to be brave in the face of having a big mirror put in front of my company. So it was awesome. It was hard, scary sometimes, but it was really awesome. Thanks, Emma. Thanks so much. Emma's going to be feeding questions and stuff as they come in, but I just wanted to make a little bit of a high level, broad brushstroke on what's new with Equus and how you can be involved. So we created a Facebook page for those of you who are on Facebook that's called The Herd, and it's for anyone who's had any engagement with Equus at all on a capacity of you've had the Equus experience, you've done coaching, you've been in one of the wisdom circles, you've joined one of my classes or courses, then you get to be part of the herd. And the herd is a place where people can share thoughts, ideas, inspirations, go to support each other, because you all speak the same language on many levels, and there's ways that you can really support one another and to continue to be in that good company through that Facebook page. And we just started that, and it'll get a little juicier. I'm new at engaging Facebook communities, so bear with me, but I'll be throwing things in there, and so will Emma and Mackenzie and Stephanie from time to time to just prompt discussion or questions or journaling or whatever. But more importantly, we just wanted to create a place where the community could gather, because all of you are super special humans that see life just a little bit outside of the box, and you don't need to do it alone. So we wanted to make that happen. A brand new course is called the Transformative Year. It's an email course. It's just $69 for the year, and once a week you get an email dropped in your inbox with some inspiration from me and some powerful journal questions, and then an experiential exercise. So 52 weeks of that, and it's a pretty deep dive, so that's something new and really approachable. And every month we'll have these free, what we call AMAs, Ask Me Anything. And sometimes the Ask Me Anything is just really general, just get on, ask me anything. Sometimes they focus on a topic. Last month we had it was an Ask Us Anything, and it was Emma and Mackenzie talking about queer topics, which was super, super powerful. And there was a downloadable handout for that, all around, like, why do we use pronouns, and what are all these different labels in the spectrum of queerness, and all these questions that oftentimes people are afraid to ask. We love to create a safe space for people to ask questions, so that they can learn more and not, be worried about that the question is stupid or that the question is harmful or, any of that. And then sometimes I'll share the mic, and someone else will come and do the AMA, so that we have a guest speaker and people can engage. So that's going to happen every single month, and they're really, really fun. We have one of our 14-week courses called Assertiveness Training for Empaths. And some of you have been in that are on the call today. And that is a really, really powerful course. It blows my mind every time I run it. I run it with faculty member Ram Charan, who he and I have been colleagues, friends for 30 years. And it's a very, very comprehensive totally, absolutely guaranteed game-changing course. And if you think you're not an empath, think again. My guess is if you're here on this call and you're a part of Equus at all, you have those qualities, and it really, really shifts people's way of manifesting themselves out in the world in a bold yet compassionate way. And then the other course is the Wisdom of Thriving, which is an 8-week deep dive into flying lead change. And that is a great course too. And then we have classes. Classes are, 2 hours long, a morning on a Saturday. The class we have running several times this year is How to Lead a Transformative Life. It's all about the adaptive cycle, how we can use the adaptive cycle and leverage it for more investment, more robustness and resilience in the face of change that happens in our life. And then every Saturday, Ram Charan is hosting a meditation class, and it goes very deep. Ram is a lifelong, deep spiritual practitioner, and really holds space in a beautiful way. And at the end of the class, he leaves a little time for question and answer, but it's a very, very deep process, and that's every Saturday. We're opening up a new scholarship program. It'll sort of be a sort of pay it forward kind of process where people can contribute to assisting Equus to be of service to underserved communities. And we're at present looking at partnering with various organizations locally, and we'll probably reach beyond that as well, so that people in this region who are working with trauma, working with addiction, working in Indigenous communities and wellness can actually participate in working with the horses, but also so that we can offer virtual places for people who are in need of this kind of work but may not be able to afford to make that happen. So that hasn't happened on our website yet, but it is in process right now. And so just keep an eye on that, because Emma's job, on top of everything else she does, is her outreach to all of you through our newsletter and everything, to let you know what's going on. And gift certificates. We've got a big gift certificate thing happening as well, so that you can give the gift of Equus to people that you love and care about. And I guess lastly, and then I'm going to open the floor, is that we already know what we're doing for all of 2022, so that you can look ahead and look at what's happening in the summer or in the fall and plan yourself accordingly. If you want to participate in something, you don't have to wait until you get a sort of last minute notification. You can pay for and plan and organize in advance something that you may want to do that's happening here. So anything you would add, Emma, that I've forgotten? Okay, cool. So
no, I just want to make it. Oh, sorry, Kelly, you were breaking up. I was just going to say, first of all, I already have questions in the chat, so good job, guys. I'm excited. And second of all, there's like some stuff like the shop, the gift certificates are going to be their own thing in the shop. There's all of this stuff that we're still even upgrading that is not out yet. So just be mindful of that. Keep your eye out for that. There's still more to come. Everything you see on the website is not all that there's going to be. And then also, like Kelly said, that whole thing of booking way out in advance is so helpful, I think, for everybody, because now you can get reminded, you're going to have it on your calendar. It's going to be amazing. So that's one of the big things. Before we turn it over to questions, like publicly, do you mind if I answer the ones that are in the chat?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question I think is actually directed toward me, and then they're all going to be toward Kelly, but it says, would you walk us through some of the highlights of the new website? And Kelly, I also want to hear your perspective on this, because I'm the one who did the back end, so I want to hear how it is for you. But
Okay.
One of my favorite things is the Explorer page that we have now, which is very different than the last website. Now there's a page where you can literally see at one glance everything that we offer, which is one of the big things that I wanted coming into this organization. I was always so confused because it seems like there's so many offerings and I didn't know how they related to each other. So now you can see all of those. And I think one of my other favorite parts is just how much more usable it is for me. And maybe other people disagree or agree with me, but I don't think it's really just about the new colors. I really think it's about the way that the website performs, and hopefully how much more easy it is for everyone to sign up for things and get what they want out of Equus. So
yeah.
What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, no, it's for me, a website really performs well if it's what I call grandmother friendly. You know, that my 85-year-old mother or my 95-year-old grandmother could get on there and know and intuitively know how to get around and access things and feel welcomed by that clarity, and also that the experience of being on the site is peaceful, right? And because that's kind of what we're all about. So that is definitely was one of our aims and has happened for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Megan wants to know, she says the website's beautiful, great upgrade. There's a tab called The Book. Does that mean that you will not write another one?
Oh, great question. Great. And Emma, you know what? I'm going to have you like write notes down because we may get some. Yeah, no, I already have another one in process, and another one in process as well. I have two. I'm a closet poet as well, and I'm busy working on a book of poetry coming out, and I have another book that I'm in the process of bringing to life. So I think that a lot in my world, my ideal world, I'll be writing a ton of books between now and the last breath. So yeah, but great. That's great. But right now, the book.
we'll put an S on the end eventually, the books.
Right.
Does anybody have any questions that they want to voice? If no, I have a list. So just
yeah, cool.
If you have one, just put it in the chat. Okay, so this is one I like because I actually want to know. How do you select your faculty and staff? What are the requisites and prerequisites?
Well, that certainly changed over the years. And it's kind of a reflection of my own inner process. I think I've become much more discerning about the company that I keep. And I'm really looking for, it's not even necessarily experience, although experience can be a big part of that. But first and foremost, I'm really looking for character. And I'm looking for folks who are willing, as Emma demonstrated to me, are willing to hold a mirror up to themselves, are willing to hold a mirror up to others. For me, it's really, really important that the culture of Equus be reflected internally, as that we really walk our talk as an organization. And so in our leadership team meetings, we have adopted a few things around really showing up for each other, not being afraid of difficult conversations, not being afraid of candor, taking the time to address the human side of living together inside an organization and the emotions that inevitably come up around that. And so I'm looking for kind of a robustness of character where, because for me, skills can always be built, but character is kind of there. So everyone who's on the team right now, I proudly can say that I'm learning from every day, that I admire, that I respect, and that are so deeply engaged in their learning and growing. And I look forward to expanding that faculty and staff as the company needs. But I'm also aware that there are only so many eggs I can hold well, before one falls out of my hand. So, can I hold this current group of people well, so that everyone, so that they are empowered to contribute in the way that their gifts can truly flourish, and they feel that their needs are met and the needs of the company are also met. So yeah, I'm less concerned about the resume as I am the heart of the person who's coming to Equus. Yeah,
definitely.
In Emma's case, and I'm going to make you blush, Emma, but Emma brings a certain refreshing directness that most of our team were very sort of feeling, kind of organic people, and Emma came in like this, and it was really, really good for our organization. And so it's one of the many things I really appreciate about her. And so yeah.
Thank you. Aw. Okay. There's one more question. Oh, there's a couple more questions. The shift from the primarily Black and contemporary look of your website to the soft, more natural look is significant. I'm curious what that represents for Equus.
That's a great question. I would say that part of it is, I would say that there was something we were maybe a little bit harkens back to what you were saying, Emma, that there was something that we felt we needed to be to work, especially in the corporate sector, which Equus works very, very much in the corporate sector, but we also work in, we work everywhere. There's not a place we won't show up if that's where we're needed. And there was something around feeling like we needed to look edgy or something that was beautiful, but somehow wasn't as vulnerable as our organization actually is. And by vulnerable, I mean that we're willing to be authentic. We're willing to be ourselves. We're willing to be a little different. We're willing just, to show up as who we are and make mistakes even as an organization in front of everybody. And so I feel like this shift is very much in alignment with our physical location, sort of the desert. Emma talked about cashmere in the desert, and that's what it feels like, as opposed to a racing car somewhere. And I also love the more that you really kind of get a sense of Santa Fe and the high desert and northern New Mexico through that look. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. To me, it feels more approachable, which I feel like Equus really is at its core. Like, you would think from the old branding that you guys were so kind of up here, when really you're really willing to kind of come down and get dirty and talk to anybody.
Yeah,
I love.
I don't know much about the corporate world at all by any means, other than what I might read in articles. And I came across Equus a few years ago, and just listening to you talk about branding, which I'm also not very familiar with on a creative side, but definitely on a receiving side. I was stunned by the old website. Like, it was stunning to me, all that black, it just was so dramatic and so intense. And now listening to you, maybe it was a little intimidating. And when I look at the new website, there is a softness, and there is sort of an expansiveness to it that is inviting, and that doesn't actually separate, which I think speaks more to your heart than anything else. Yeah. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Good job, Emma.
Thank you. That's literally exactly what we were trying to get at. That's so great to hear. Yeah, the old website was great and it served its purpose, but I see what you mean about it being intimidating, and Equus is not, like.
No.
So I'm so glad that you're having that experience.
Thanks, man. That's a great reflection.
Yeah. Do you want to have a question that says, who do you think is your target audience or clientele? That's kind of a broad one, but what do you think?
I get asked that a lot, and I'm always stumped by it. And I think it's because the clientele doesn't hang out in certain sectors. The clientele has more, again, to do with character and heart. And whether it's a C-suite executive or a senior level manager at a Fortune 50 company, or a midwife, or a stay-at-home dad, or whatever, the point is about these are people who feel a certain calling and can no longer ignore that calling, and want to finally, at last, put all the resistance and the excuses aside and step into that calling. And it's deep soul work, although that's not how we may articulate it, because sometimes those words can be scary or alienating for people. But these are people who are making a difference in the world through their presence, and people who are, I would say, kind of mature individuals who have been around the block a few times, who have had strong experiences in their life, and who have a strong inner life. And these are the kinds of people who come to Equus. And that is such a privilege to work with people in that way, because that is like, why else are we alive but to follow that calling and to no longer abide by things that aren't in alignment with that calling. So yeah.
I think I asked you that question when I first met you, and I think something that you said to me like still is in my mind. And you said, my ideal clientele is anyone who shows up, which is not as easy as it sounds. Which is, I think, which is a bigger deal than it really sounds, because it's not easy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that.
Go ahead.
I have an answer. When you first asked the question, Emma, I was like, oh my gosh, how bold. And I was, and I can speak from my own experience. You know, I love what you said, Callie, so much. And it really is, it provided me a roadmap of sorts, you know, to really change my life, right? I had the willingness, I just didn't have the direction. And it's like to change my life and really grow into the person I am, right? There's just that piece of it that it's so easy in today's world, you know, to sort of grow into somebody you're not. It's like, oh my gosh. And that discordance can be really quite intense in a bad way. So this, you know, it started with a phone call, you know, or maybe it started with an email, you know, and just this curiosity, and it has just changed everything for me. So tremendous.
I'm so glad, man. If you were to, I wasn't planning on this, but since you're here and you're talking the way you're talking, I'm going to just go for it. If you were to summarize like in a sentence or two, what has changed for you? Because you and I got together a few years ago. What's changed for you in the last few years? How would you articulate that?
One sentence. Wow. I think what's changed the most is, you know, and I'm really tender about this, you know, I'm going to say it, and then there's a lot of, you know, argument in my brain sometimes, but I think what's changed the most is my ability to trust myself. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot more I'd like to say, but I'm not gonna.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Looking at my list of questions, we only actually have a few more, and I'm really excited. Oh, go ahead, Dee.
I don't actually have any questions, but I'm very new. My son lives way up Pacheco Canyon. I kept driving by, and I kept like turning my head and just feeling like a magnet was pulling me in, and I'm so grateful. So I just really want to say hello, and Mayan, is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for expressing that. It just went straight to my heart. Really beautiful, and I look forward to you know, being able to relay my experience as I'm coming on board here. So really, I just wanted to say that since I'm sitting here, and yeah, so thank you. And really cool to hear the sharings and the expression of what's happening at Equus. I didn't even know how to pronounce it. Honestly, I kept going, is it Equus? Or so I'm that new with Equus. But somehow with Kelly, I feel an old connection that feels so good to be meeting, and also a comfort level in this circle that feels very welcome.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much for kind of just lending your voice here, because it really is a very special circle of people who are growing from this organization. It's super great. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad that life put us together. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to continue. I have one that's kind of interesting. How do you run a down-to-earth physical organization virtually? Like, how do you approach that?
That has been so cool. I had no idea that so much energy and love and care and presence could transmit over Zoom. I was at a dinner party the other night, and we were all kind of talking about, many of us are facilitators and coaches and stuff, and how like, wow, so much is actually transmittable over time and space through Zoom. Who thought, who could imagine? And we were a little bit ahead of the curve before the pandemic, because Stephanie came on board as our virtual assistant. And so we, I guess, how we do it, I'm not sure. I guess if I were to put it down to one thing, it's really taking the time. So technology runs very fast, and it's really easy to kind of be like multitasking while you're on a call and you're on a Zoom meeting, and you can kind of have like alarms going off on the screen and the phone's ringing and all of this. But we actually treat the virtual space as a physical space. And our leadership team meetings used to be an hour, and we extended them to an hour and a half so that we could take the time that things take. Because, as some of you've heard me say, there's the speed of the mind, and then there's the speed of the heart. And the speed of the mind is just very like this, and we can think thoughts, and it can go like that. And technology keeps us running faster and faster. And technology allows us to get more done in less time. And there's the speed of the heart, which is around our experiences, our feelings, the impact we're having on one another. And it's very important that an organization run also at the speed of the heart, and that people need time and relationships need time, and especially virtual relationships need time and care. And so I think I could do a better job at this, but I'm working at remembering to take the time to slow down, that we can connect virtually, and then it works really, really well. And I'm so grateful for that, because there's to not have Emma and Stephanie and Mackenzie would be, I just can't even imagine this organization without those three. And to not have the faculty who are, on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in India, in Portugal, in South America, like that would just be, I can't even imagine that. So I'm really glad it could happen. Yeah. And for those of you in business who haven't gotten a virtual assistant yet and who haven't gone virtual, you really, really, really need to drink that Kool-Aid. Yeah. You know what, Emma, I think what we could do is open the floor to any like suggestions, or like any feedback, or anything, anyone, or some way that you could imagine that Equus could serve you or your community, or a community you care about even better. I'd love to open the floor for that, if anybody wants to lend their voice. No feedback. Wow, that's wild.
Well, I don't know. The only, I'm still just stuck on I'm still just waiting on the gift certificates, because and I know that we got to wait on that. So that was my only question originally, because that would be a wonderful way to sort of spread your deliciousness. It's like, you just, because people, you just throw it in someone's lap, and they're bound to just say, yeah. I mean, and it sort of belies that whole initiative piece that, one of the things I was going to talk about or mention was that, it's for people who want to change. It's for people who want to create, a different experience for themselves, and that's where Equus becomes so instrumental. Because, desire isn't enough, to tell you the truth. You need the in practice,
Right.
piece. So a gift certificate could jumpstart a lot of that for people, I mean,
Yeah.
I send my stuff once I sign, I send the stuff out to everyone I know
Yeah.
just to see. And I think, I don't know, I think a gift certificate would be kind of a cooler way to do it.
Yeah, totally.
That's so true.
Can you talk about, because I forget, Emma, how it's like, is it like you can just put it in the basket, like a gift certificate for the Transformative Year email course, or a gift certificate for the book, or how does it work exactly? And then I'm putting a note down, we'll like promote that this thing is up for sure. But yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that was an option up on the website for the holiday seasons. And I saw so much of that is that, people were giving the gift of Equus in a way that I was like kind of almost surprised by, that like I always thought of it as such a personal thing, but people were really taking the initiative to want the people closest to them to have the chance to experience what they've experienced. So it's definitely very powerful. And it was up on the website until Monday when it got transferred over. And now we're just making it even better and more refined on the new website. So it'll be up very, very shortly. And yes, with the old website, you could put in like a custom amount. This is actually good feedback. With the old website, you could put in like a custom amount and you would just purchase it through an invoice that arrived in your inbox. And then you would get basically like a little thing sent to you or to whoever you wanted it to go to, and they could cash it in for any number of things. With the new website, we have a couple of decisions to make if we want to do it for like a set number. So if we wanted to do it for, a menu of like maybe 25, 50, 100 like set, or if we wanted to do some sort of like type in your own value thing, or if we wanted to do it so that it's just for specific offerings. So it wasn't just a monetary value. It was just specifically, you need to take this course and I'll buy this course for you.
Yeah.
So I think,
yeah.
which one kind of sounds the most like resonant?
That's a great question. I mean, I like it that it's a thing, right? It's like, I'm giving you this book, I'm giving you this course, I'm giving you this,
that does too. For me, just the amount doesn't do anything for me at all.
Yeah, it's like that's like getting money in a birthday card, right? It's like,
yeah,
okay.
and it's like, oh great, now I got to put this towards that course, but I got to come up with the rest. I mean, it's not really a gift, it's kind of a headache.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Okay, I'll jot it down. Thank you.
Yeah,
This is good feedback. We need to do like peer reviews more often.
yeah, we do.
Focus
Oh,
groups.
count me in.
That's so great. Okay, awesome. That'll be
Yeah,
helpful.
great.
Is there I have a question. Is there anybody who's purchased anything from like the Equus shop before here? Like trinkets or anything? No? Okay. It's all good. I'll do my own testing.
Is that where I would get the leather bound journal?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, things like that.
Okay. I heard about it. So now I'm looking for it. Okay. Thank you.
It'll be up shortly. Just making
Yeah. Oh, and we are, just because Emma and Mac and Stephanie and I love to shop, we are going to add some things on the shop. We have some fun things coming up, like, like a little soft t-shirt with a buffalo on the front, because we have a beautiful buffalo buried here on this land. So we have some things that are kind of meaningful that have to do with the narrative of this place. That'll happen as well. So keep your eye open there. I'm curious if anybody has anything to say around, like, oftentimes people connect with a horse or horses, like they have a horse who's just who really spoke to them during their experience here. If they've been here, if they have any ideas or thoughts around how to connect with the herd a little more. We've had a lot of different ideas, but right now it's really limited to just, Emma does a lot of posting on Instagram with photos of the herd and what's going on at the ranch here. But if anybody has any thoughts or ideas around that would be really welcome too.
That gets a little tricky for people who aren't on social media. I mean, I have been off it for a while now, and just because of your shift back to it or the herd, whatever, I'm considering maybe going back to it, that couldn't be a bad thing. But I guess when you started to talk about it, it would be really kind of, and I don't really know how it would work. I mean, the posting of certain horses and little bits about them could be cool, but it'd be also nice to feel like you could access, I don't know what you would call it, storylines of each horse on your website, you know, like what's going on with so-and-so this month, or what has changed in their lives, or how are they doing? Just from a very personal standpoint, you know, that just is quite attractive to me. I hope that, does that make sense to you guys?
It does. I'm sort of thinking of like a feed or something that's just an update on various horses. It may rotate somewhere or something, Emma, because, I do know that people, for example, Dante is their guy, and what like today, in fact, I had this really breakthrough moment with him, and that could be really sweet and really special because people carry the horses with them. So
it's true. It's been almost a year since I danced, if not a little bit longer. And I can't help but wonder all the time, you know, what's going on? How is he doing?
Yeah. Did you dance with Dante? Is that who you were with? Oh, you're off.
I'm embarrassed to admit I can't remember who I danced with. It was your youngest, I think it was your newest.
Aiden, you did it with Aiden.
Aiden, that's right. It was Aiden.
Yeah. She's a rock star.
And I remember the song to this day.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. Now I'm getting a thought about playlists. Anyway.
A playlist about each horse.
Just playlists, I can imagine there being playlists that are available through Equus because people get, touched by how music influences their life. And I could imagine Equus publishing some playlists that might be really nice. So that could be cool. Thanks, everybody. That was great that I got to get that idea because we were all together. Yeah, we have just a few more minutes. Anybody who's been a little silent have anything to say or ask or request or give feedback?
This is Andrew. I have a comment. I put it in the chat, but I'd love it if you could speak to it. Would it be possible, I think it's easier and easier to do videos, to create and edit videos and share them. Would it be possible for you to post videos of the different horses and just different dimensions, different elements, the way you write about the horses and what they bring? You could illustrate that in videos. And maybe those could be posted on the site or put in the new Facebook group, or I don't know, just so those of us that live far from the ranch can get a flavor for them and get a sense of who they are. And then ultimately when we can get there, it's like, wow, now I'm really, it's,
right.
I mean, it's not horse video dating, that's a little weird, but just some way to be exposed to them from a distance. Maybe video can, because it's so much easier, maybe that can happen.
That's a great idea. That's a really great idea. Thank you. I love that too. And yes, and I just have to pull out my phone and my, whatever that long thing is, that long.
Don't be sick.
Yeah. I have it. It's right here in the corner gathering dust. So I can definitely, it doesn't take long, it doesn't take long.
Yeah. Or maybe if you have somebody visiting, you can find somebody to help you.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I could do that. That's cool. I love that idea. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I think we can start to wrap things up. This has been really sweet to hang out with all of you, and it touches me a lot that you wanted to come and be part of our debut. It's been a really meaningful time for me personally, and for Equus and for everyone in Equus. These last couple of years have been really, really meaningful and important. And so I'm really touched that you're here. And my door is always open. I really mean that. It's always open. So please reach out by text or by email. Sometimes it can take me a little while to get back, not because I don't care, but just I get a little overwhelmed sometimes with my emails, and especially as I'm outside a lot with the horses. So be patient with my response, but know that I read every single email that comes into my inbox, and I do respond and listen. And I just want to know how Equus can serve better. And because we've gotten really good at listening to feedback and having the mirror in front of us, your impressions are really important to us. So you matter a lot to Equus and to all of us and to the horses and to the land. And thank you. And share us with people that you care about so that we can keep doing the work that we're here to do. So thank you so much. And Emma, thank you for everything. And thank you, Mian and Dee and Andrew, and have a really beautiful evening.
Thank you, everybody. It's
Okay.
so nice to see you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.